Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a simple budget tracker in Google Sheets. For the first step, you'll need to open Google Drive. This is where you're going to be able to create the spreadsheet. I'm going to click the plus icon or the new icon. Then you'll want to click Google Sheets and it's going to open up a brand new Google spreadsheet for you. I'm going to show you a beginner-friendly way that you can customize this Google Sheet into a monthly budget. The first step would be to title your spreadsheet. Next, you can title the actual sheet itself for in case you plan on creating multiple sheets inside and turning this into a workbook. So I'm just going to right-click and click Rename, and you can title this your budget or monthly budget. And I'll be showing you how to create a beginner-friendly monthly budget/income tracker. I'd recommend first starting off by inserting the date. I'm going to click on the A1 cell and just double-click, and you can begin inserting the date. So I'm just going to do month and year format. And if you'd like, you can increase the size of this text. I'll be dividing this budget tracker into 6 different sections to represent the monthly income, the expenses, the spending, the saving, the debt tracker, and so on. I'm going to start by clicking on A3. You'll want to double click on the cell, and then I'm going to type in income summary. This first section is just going to be the summary of your income, or in other words, how much you made that month. Right below that cell, I'm going to type in income source. You'll only need to type in income source if you have multiple different streams of income. Next to the income source, I'm going to type in planned amount, which will represent how much you plan to make from each specific income source. And next to planned amount, you'll want to type in the actual amount of how much you actually made that month or this month. And the last cell is optional, but you can add a notes cell. So I'm just going to double click on this and I'm going to type in notes. Just so that it's easier to organize, I'm going to click on the A4 cell and I'm just going to select and then drag my mouse all the way over to the D4 cell. This way, if you'd like, you can actually put this in bold and you can change the color of the text, or you can add a text background, which can really help you to simplify your spreadsheet a little bit. If you'd also like to space out these texts, so for example, the planned amount text is kind of cut off, you can just hover your mouse in between the columns and double click, and it's going to put a little bit more space in between each column, so that things will look a little bit more organized. So under income source is where you can put your different income sources. For example, you may have a paycheck income source, a side hustle income source, a pension, and so on. And as you're adding these, feel free to color code any of the sections just to help keep things organized. Under planned amount, you can put the amount that you plan to make from that income source that specific month. So this will be your planned amount or expected amount. Next, you can type in the actual dollar amount that you received that month from each income source. Next, I'm going to click on the A9 cell, and this is where I'm going to type in the word total, and I'm going to align this text off to the right of the cell. So you just want to click on the cell, and then up here, you're going to click on the alignment tab, and then you can realign that text. Next, we're going to create an actual formula to automatically calculate up the total planned amount or expected amount that you planned on making, and that dollar amount is going to show up here. And then we're going to do the same thing to make a formula to automatically calculate the actual amounts and how much you made overall. To insert that formula, you'll want to double click on the cell. You're going to type in equal, then you're going to write sum in all caps, do a left parenthesis, and the system has automatically detected what I'm trying to create. So it's going to do sum, left parenthesis, the B4 cell through the B6 cell, so that it can automatically calculate these numbers for me. Or if you would like to manually type that in, this dollar amount is on the B5 cell, and then this dollar amount is on the B6 cell. So I'm just going to type in B5, and then I'm going to put B6, and then end it with a right parenthesis and click enter. Once you do that, you'll see that it has automatically calculated that dollar amount. Creating formulas like that actually can allow you to no longer have to do those manual calculations. Also, if you'd like to organize every area of your personal finance, I've created a personal finance bundle of Google Sheets templates. This bundle includes organized and well laid out Google Sheets for you to keep your personal finance organized. It includes a budget spreadsheet, a budget by paycheck spreadsheet, a savings tracker so that you can track everything that you're saving for, and a monthly budget spreadsheets so that you can track your income and expenses. This bundle helps you save hours and hours of time from creating your Google Sheets entirely from scratch. Every spreadsheet is well laid out and optimized so that even if you're a beginner with Google Sheets, you can stay organized without getting overwhelmed. It includes a designated income calendar along with a spending tracker so that you can track your recurring expenses, purchases, and in general your spending habits. The spreadsheets include automated formulas to calculate your totals. There's also some visual charts in the spreadsheets for in case you're more of a visual learner and you need to see the final roundups and totals in a pie chart or other types of charts. My Google Sheets template bundle for tracking your income and personal finance will be linked in the description box for you guys. And I also have a variety of other types of Google Sheets templates, which you can check out on my website as well. And we're going to repeat that step to create a formula for right underneath the actual amount, because you'll need to know the actual amount you made that month. So to repeat those steps, I'm going to click enter, then type in sum in all caps. You're going to put a left parenthesis and then type in C5. And I forgot to mention, the reason we're typing in C5 is because the column is C. And then when you go all the way down to where this dollar amount is, you'll see that it's on the 5th row. So the name of this specific cell would be the C5 cell. Then I'm going to put by C6, and then I'm going to end it with a right parenthesis and click enter. And as you can see, it has automatically calculated that amount. Now that you know your earnings from each of your income sources, and you've set formulas to automatically calculate your totals for you, I'm basically going to repeat very similar steps in the spreadsheet to add a bill and subscription tracker. Then we're going to add an expenses tracker, which is going to track your spending. And at the end, I'm going to show you how to add a savings and a debt tracker, along with a total at the bottom of your spreadsheet, which is going to be very important so that you can see an overview of basically everything: how much you made, how much you spent, how much you saved, and so on. So next, for your simple monthly budget, I'm going to show you how to create an expenses or bill tracker section. I've clicked on the A11 cell, and I'm going to title this bill tracker. I'm going to title the cell under that bills/subscriptions. Then you'll want to click on the B12 cell, and I'm going to title this due date so that you can type in the dates in which each of your bills or subscriptions are due. Then you'll want to click on the cell next to that, and I'm going to title this amount to represent the total amount for each of your subscriptions. And again, you can select these cells and you can put them in bold, and you can also change the colors of the text and the background color just to help you organize your budget with color-coded cells. So underneath the bills and subscriptions, this is where you can begin listing off your different subscriptions and monthly bills. And under due date is where you can type in the dates in which each of those are going to be due on, just in simple text format. And of course, under the amount section is where you'll want to type in the dollar amount for each subscription or bill. Once you're all done, we're going to create another total section, which is just going to automatically tally up this number under the amount section here. So I've clicked on the cell A18, and I'm just going to type in the word total. And again, with this cell, I'm going to realign it. So I'm just going to click this alignment button, and I'm going to align the text off to the right. Then I'm going to click on cell C18, and this is where you can create the formula to automatically calculate these numbers for you. Just click enter, and it has actually detected what I'm trying to type in. So it's just going to be enter, then sum, and then it's left parenthesis C13, which is going to start with this cell, all the way through C17, which is going to end with this cell that has the dollar amount. I'm just going to select that, and as you can see, it has automatically calculated up that total. I did notice that the total row is basically right below the row with all of the actual bills and subscriptions and then the dollar amounts, whereas up here I put 2 empty rows just to kind of help make it easier to see this text. So I'm going to do that down here as well. I'm just going to click on row 17. I'm going to right click and then click insert one row below, and then I'm going to insert one more row below. Basically, that's just going to kind of put some space in between the total and then this actual bill tracker section so that we can see the dollar amount a little bit easier. I also forgot, you can create a notes cell just like what we did with this notes cell. So just type in the word notes. That way, in case you need to add any text notes next to each of these lines, you can do so. Also, just in case you want to simplify the process, you can actually select this cell up here. So this is going to be A11. You're going to select and then drag your mouse all the way until you've selected this entire block, which is basically your bill tracker block. You can right click, then click copy, and then you're going to scroll down probably to the cell A23. You're going to right click and then click paste to basically paste in that section. And we're going to turn this into the spending tracker. So I'm going to retitle this cell spending tracker. And you can list all of your spending under this section. So if you take a look, we actually won't need this due date section. So I'm just going to click on each of these cells. I'm going to delete the text. And I'm going to select the notes and also the amount section. Then I'm going to click the corner of this section so I can just move it over. That way you're just going to have all of your spending listed. Then you're going to have the official amount of everything. Then you're going to have the total. Then you want to type in the dollar amount that you spent. After typing in each number, you'll want to make sure to click enter. And you'll notice it's going to automatically calculate your total for you. If you'd also like, you can select the total tab. And to set this apart, you can color code the sections. So you can just set like a different background color, for example, just so that you can quickly notice the totals. And you can do that up here as well. For the next two sections I'm going to add, it's going to be for a savings tracker and also a debt tracker. I'm going to scroll up and I'm actually going to be duplicating, again, the bill tracker section. So you'll just want to select it and drag your mouse. You're going to right click and click copy. Then you're going to scroll down and then you're going to paste it. So for this bill tracker title, I'm going to title it Savings Tracker. Once you've retitled the section, then instead of this cell saying due date, I'm going to type in target set aside to represent the dollar amount that you wanted to set aside. And then under amount, you can type in amount actually set aside or actual amount set aside. And because that one was a long title, so it got cut off, I'm going to space out the section. So I'm just going to click on column C. Then I'm going to click this little space icon. You want to double click that space icon and it's going to help to show the full title. Under savings goal, you can type in what it is you want to save for. Then under target set aside, you can type in how much you want it to set aside or save. I'm also going to clear some of these number fields because I won't be using those. Then you can type in the actual dollar amount that you set aside for this specific month. And it has automatically calculated the total for that amount. And below this section, I'm going to add the final section, which will be the debt tracker, to track sort of how much you set aside. And actually for the debt tracker, I'm going to use a similar formula to what I use for the savings tracker. So I'm basically going to select this savings tracker because it's exactly the layout that I need for the debt tracker. I'm going to right click, then click copy. Then I'm going to paste that section in and I'll be retitling this cell debt tracker. I'm also going to go ahead and clear these sections right now. And basically you're going to type in your different debt types. It could be credit card or loan or anything else. Then you can put your target that you planned to set aside that month and then put the actual amounts that you ended up setting aside that month. And once you're done, it's going to calculate up the total amount that you've set aside this particular month for your debt tracker section. The final thing we're going to add is actually going to be a tally at the bottom, which is just going to break down all of the numbers so you can see it all kind of laid out and organized. I also forgot a little note. So up here for the planned amount section, I did include a formula to calculate these numbers. So down here, I'm going to do the same thing. So for example, the savings tracker and the debt tracker, the target set aside sections should each have a tally to tally up in total how much you plan to set aside that month. So basically to create those, I'm going to click enter and it has actually detected what I'm trying to type in. So it's going to be sum and it's going to be B37 all the way through B43. So I'm going to select that and you'll see that it has calculated those numbers. And then you can just repeat that step for this cell down here. And here's what this one looks like. And then I'm just going to click the default that they have detected. To create the total tally at the bottom, I'm going to select one of these columns. I've dragged it down 5 cells and then I'm going to go over to the right. And up here, I'm actually going to apply a border. This is just so that we can set this section apart so that we can really kind of notice it. I'm also going to color code the bottom cells. So you just want to select the cells. Then you can click this fill color icon and you can add sort of any color that you would like to add. I'm going to set a custom color, which is just a very light purple color. And for this cell A62, I'm going to type in totals and we're going to begin listing the different categories. And then I'm going to title each of these cells below. So the first cell is going to be incoming, so it's going to just represent incoming income or how much income overall you made that month. Then the bottom cell is going to represent outgoing, so basically all expenses and spending. The next is going to represent savings, so all the money that you put towards savings that month, or all the money that went towards savings. And then for the bottom, it's going to be how much went to debt. We're going to create formulas for all 4 of these sections so that they will automatically tally up a number from up here. So for example, the number that's going to be next to incoming is also going to be this number right here. So you'll notice this is your income summary tab, and this is your total income that you had incoming that month. You want to take a note of which cell this is. The column is C and the row is 9, so this is C9. So down here, I'm just going to click on this cell next to incoming, and I'm going to add a formula. I'm going to type enter, then sum, then left parentheses, then C9 to represent the cell C9, then right parentheses and click enter. That's going to automatically add that total amount from basically in general how much you made that month. Next, we're going to add the outgoing expenses. So you want to look closely at the steps I'm going to show you because it's not just one outgoing dollar amount. We want this section to tally up basically everything that is outgoing that includes your bills and subscription dollar amount, and it's also going to include your spendings and purchases dollar amount. So under the bill tracker, the total dollar amount, this cell is basically going to be cell C20, and then your outgoing amount that you had for spending and purchases is going to be this cell B32. So I'm going to scroll down back to our final total. You're going to click on the cell right next to outgoing, and we're going to create that formula to automatically calculate the numbers for us. Type in enter, then sum in all caps, and you're going to type in C20 to represent the C20 cell. Then you're going to put a comma and put B32 to represent that B32 cell. Click right parenthesis and then click enter. And you'll notice it just automatically calculates all of your outgoing income, excluding the amount that is going to savings and debt, because we want to be able to see those separately. So this is basically everything that's going towards all of your expenses, spending, and purchases. And just in case you want to check that this outgoing number is accurate, you'll just want to scroll up to your bill tracker and you'll see the total. So in this case, the number is $2,835, and then you're going to basically just add that to the $830, which is a part of the spending tracker section. In total, you're going to get that final tallied number here, which is the 3,000 number. Then for went to savings, you're going to put the total amount of money that you had go towards savings. So when I scroll up to this savings section, the total amount that went to savings is this dollar amount here. And this dollar amount is in C44. And you'll see it'll automatically add the number that's going to be the same total number from your savings tracker section. And just repeat that step with the went to debt section. So your total that went to debt is going to be this dollar amount right here. And we're going to create a formula to automatically add this number to this box. You don't necessarily have to add formulas, but if you do plan on kind of duplicating your monthly budget spreadsheet and using it for future months, I think it's totally worth it to set up the formulas now so that later on when you go to customize this to fit other months, you don't have to do those manual calculations. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial that is how to create a simple, beginner-friendly monthly budget inside Google Sheets. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. My personal finance Google Sheets bundle will be linked in the description box. It includes numerous templates to help you stay on track with your monthly budgeting, your savings, your spending. It includes charts in case you're more of a visual learner and you need to see kind of all those final tallies and roundups in a visual format. And just in general, it will help you save hours and hours of time from creating all of your different personal finance spreadsheets from scratch. If you want to look inside the personal finance bundle, on my website, there is a video where I kind of walk you through what the spreadsheets look like and what's included inside. That's going to be linked in the description box for you guys.